Hi, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Eminent Women. My name is Tsegoha Moagi, and here, as you know, we speak to phenomenal women doing amazing things in their various spheres. And once again, today, we've got an amazing woman to speak to us about what she's doing. And let me give you more information about who she is. Khanyisa Mnyaka is a certified personal development coach. She's a counselor, she's a TEDx speaker, and she's an author. But she's also the founder of the Own Your Life seminars. And she'll give us more information about the Own Your Life seminars, but also everything else that she's busy with. Khanyisa, hi. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi.
Thanks for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
So I said off air that, I needed something here so that I'm able to speak about your long list of things that you do. Let's talk about where this started for you, to do all of this that you do, then we'll break down everything else.
Yeah. So my background is in psychology, and I was stuck in an apartment in Seattle, Washington during COVID in 2020. And, shut down, COVID, the whole thing. And I was sitting in that room thinking about, should this all end, what would I have done? Mm-hmm. And just that moment of recognizing that there has to be more in the sense of how I lived, how I serve. And then I was like, okay, I have all these, educational background, and I've run businesses, but I wanted to do something that I remember the sentence that came to mind was turning pain into purpose. Mm-hmm. To take everything that I've been through, package it in a way that it can help someone else. And then I went and I found people like Jay Shetty, who's a life coach, by the way. And then I went and found people like Tony Robinson, and I really resonated with the work that they were doing. So, and then I went and I got certified, and then that's where it all started. And now we're here 7 years later almost.
Talk to us about how you landed up in Seattle.
Oh. Okay. No, I was in a relationship with an American. Mm-hmm. And firstly, I left South Africa in 2010, and I was teaching English in South Korea. So I've been away from home really for 15 years, and I returned last year. So I'm like, I've been home now for about a year and a half.
Sure.
Still loving it. But all those years, I was living in different countries. So I ended up in the States because my ex-partner was from there. And we were actually moving to Mexico because I never wanted to live in America. Okay. I had never had, even my partner before that, they were from the States. And I was like, I never had this like, oh, I want to live in America, but got stuck there and ended up living there for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
You speak about the background in psychology, but you also speak about being a teacher. Balance us out a little bit.
I will balance you out by saying I'm old. Okay. I'm old, and I say that not in a way to be like, yo, Khanyi mdala, which I am, but I've had different careers in my life. Mm-hmm. I graduated from UWC, and I had, majored in psychology, sociology, and anthropology. And like most graduates, I found myself jobless. And I went back to my small town to live in my grandmother's house, Ekala, in the Eastern Cape. And I remember the depression of it all. And I had a friend that lived in South Korea at the time. And he was like, just come here. So I applied and got the job, and I moved. So I was there teaching English. And then I lived in Malaysia teaching English. And then I moved to Costa Rica to do a master's program. Sure. So I lived in Central America for a year. And then I lived in the Philippines, where I owned a party boat.
Okay.
Very random. So I owned a party boat in the Philippines. And then I lived in Australia for a year, where I was on a student visa and I couldn't really work. It was, I want to stop at Australia for a second. Mm-hmm. It was the most humbling experience of my life, because here I am with all these degrees, but I can't work systematically. I can only do a job that allows me to work 20 hours a week. So I worked at restaurants. I was the person who said hi at the supermarket at the door. And to really have that moment where life asks you to strip off what you know and believe about yourself and to face hardship in that way is painful, humbling, but also depending on how you handle it for yourself, it can strengthen you.
Let's quickly pause there. You'll tell us about the other places that you lived.
Okay.
Was there not a point then where you said, I need to come back home?
No,
Okay.
because even then I was with a partner and they were working and also to be financially dependent. But you know when you're in a relationship and they're like, "Oh, I've got you, like this is all right," but deep down you're like, it doesn't feel good because I was raised by my grandparents who were, in the Eastern Cape. My grandmother was a prison cook and my grandfather was not employed by the time he was raising me, but he worked so hard in his garden. And my grandmother worked from Sunday to Sunday. So I have this intense work ethic about time and providing for yourself. And so to be in a position where I have to rely on someone else was very, very difficult. And also, mind you, this is at a time where I had lived for years providing for myself in all these other countries to then be in Australia dealing with racism in Australia and then financial struggles and then also the sense of worth because at that time I was someone who connected my worth with what I was outputting, right? If I am working and providing and I'm able to do all these things, then I'm worthy. And so to then be in a space where that worth is questioned by things that are completely outside of your control was really, really difficult.
So that's Australia. And then you moved to where?
And then after Australia, I moved to the States.
Okay.
And then I was in the States for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask it. You are part of the LGBTQIA plus community, right?
Who told you that? Who is out there sharing my business? I am.
But let's speak about that and the worth that you feel you needed to bring as well. Do you think because of your sexuality that you also had that thought that you had to provide all the time?
Well, I mean, the queer experience is there's this one thing about you that people can't seem to accept. And so what you do then is overperform, sort of to say, if I can be this person, you will overlook this.
Sure.
Right? And so not in a very conscious way of thinking about myself, but yeah, it was definitely a part of it. Yeah.
And your family? How has that been for them? You obviously living overseas, but also being part of the community. What's that been like for them?
Listen, I'm from Ekala. Okay, it is a tiny, tiny town. And when I grew up, my grandfather was a priest. So traditionally, also ndingumXhosa. Traditionally, it's something that's really difficult to accept. I came out older. I was 27. I was living in Korea with my ex-partner when I came out. And it was difficult. I was told I would go to hell. God doesn't love what I'm doing. And mind you, when I was a teenager, I was a born-again Christian.
Sure.
So the polar opposite of that experience. And my family has come around, I want to say, in the sense of getting to choose, do we want to not be in her life or try to understand her life while we exist in it? Because for me, in the last 8, 9, 10 years, the conversation I started to have with myself wasn't about being accepted by my family, but being accepted by myself. And then in that self-acceptance, I was like, I will choose me over them. I will choose my authenticity. I will choose to live a life that feels joyful for me. And if they choose to participate, this is who I am. Yeah.
So it's better now.
It is better now. Yeah. We hang out. My partner was at graduation with my brother and my aunt. So it was good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's come back then to Khanyisa as a certified personal development coach. You then say you are sitting in Seattle and you're like, you need to do something.
I'm sitting in an apartment slightly bigger than this room, really,
Sure.
like with a dog. And I am faced with questions about self. Who are you? You know, why are you? If there was a reason for your existence, what would it be? And I'm sitting quietly answering those questions by myself.
So what do you do?
I cry a lot. And the crying is really about, it's painful to face yourself. You should have warned me this would be the conversation. You guys said come, but it is painful to face yourself and to feel like you have not been the thing, but also you don't know what the thing is, right? But you know deep down in your soul that there's a thing that you need to be and you are not, and you don't know how to be, and you don't have the tools to be that thing. And so there's a lot of crying, and then there's a lot of fear as well. How do I even start? So I get certified as a counselor, and then I go and I get certified as a life coach, and then I go, and then what? And then I take my phone, and then I'm shaking, and then I'm saying random things that I post on TikTok. And then I'm also, because there's a seduction to social media where you feel like you've made it based on the number of likes. And so I experienced all of that. And then I remember I was like, okay, Khanyi, purpose first. Why are you doing the thing that you're doing? And then for me, it was, I want to speak to one person. If I get one like, one comment, or no like or comment at all, but someone sees the thing that I said and they go, I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel held by this message. And then that was it was freedom, because then I started showing up on social media, which is the biggest marketing platform right now, also the cheapest. So I could show up and say the most random things to people, and they feel like I'm making eye contact and I'm talking to them. And then it just grew from there. But at the, the avalanche, oh no, not an avalanche, an ice, what is it called? An iceberg. We sing this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What we don't see is everything that's happening underneath. And that is how the most people that inspire us get to, like, all we're seeing is what we see, but we don't see the hustle and the tussle and the fire and the storms that they go through to get there. Yeah.
So as a certified personal development coach, I suppose it worked for you as well because you were inward looking, and now you are able to assist other people. For me to come to Khanyi and say, this is what I need as a personal development coach, where am I at?
The niche that I started to move into was very out of a personal story. My TEDx talk is on the real cost of people pleasing. And in that TEDx, I talk about my mom. And she died in 2002. And then in 2003, I found out she had HIV. And my mom was married to this very, very abusive man that she could not get away from. And part of that story, especially for Black women, is what will people say? Because I've failed at a thing. And the thing I failed at is something that I had been prepared for all my life. You know, amaXhosa ati, when you start growing boobs, nazinkomo. Right? Which is the cows are coming out. So subconsciously and sometimes consciously, you are being prepared for marriage. And women stay because how can I fail at this thing that I have been prepared for so long? The conversation is not, I am in a toxic marriage. The conversation is, I am failing at being married. And so my mom stayed. She died at 36. And I often wonder, if she was empowered to see herself not as someone that failed, but as someone that chose herself, as someone that set a boundary, as someone that said, I deserve more and I deserve better, then where would we be? Where would my brothers be? where would I be, right? And then that was my niche. I wanted to help women specifically to be empowered, however you want to call it, but to be able to choose themselves in the hardest ways in which one can choose themselves. Choose yourself in those moments where people are watching you fail, where people watch you fail at being married, where people watch you fail at a job, where people watch you fail at a business, where people watch you fail at friendships. Because then, if I can help you build courage to self choose in moments where people shrink and become paralyzed by fear, then I've done my job.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick step back and we'll come back to the TEDx talk, right? What was the process for you to get to become a certified coach?
So background is in psychology.
Yeah.
I did research, which is really, really hard to find. And then I found courses online. Mine was done through a Udemy guy, this white guy in London. I remember like watching him sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fall asleep. But he was so cool. And what he had done that was really cool is like kind of create a group. So that's why I got certified. And it was the same thing with my counseling certification as well. So that was kind of the process. But I do want to say, because I'm running a mentorship program for people that want to be coaches, is that those programs don't prepare you for the job, shockingly enough. They give you tools on how to coach, but they miss the point at how to then have clients and build a business, because it's a business, it's work. This is my full-time job. Got to pay rent, And so how do I see myself as someone that is in the space of service, but also not feel shameful for charging people, which women can really struggle with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's then speak about the TEDx talk. That particular talk where you speak about your mom, what did it do for you, do you think?
The TEDx talk itself, I think preparing for it, because you have to audition for a TEDx talk. And how it came about, actually, I was practicing my speaking muscle on TikTok.
Okay.
And this woman who was starting her own TEDx talk in Charlotte, in the States, happened to be there. And I happened to go, I want to do a TEDx talk. And then she reaches out. So I go through the entire process and I'm like, man, God's timing is insane. And then then they give you a coach who helps you with the speech. And so the audition was a similar topic. But I think what it did for me was there's something, it gives you credibility to say you've done a TEDx talk. Because it's really scary to stand on that red dot. I remember, I think I blacked out. I went, but I was talking. And then I was done. I was like, okay, I'm done. Because you have to memorize a 7 to 9 minute talk. You're not reading anything. And I didn't even have
the auto cue,
like a presentation. I was just talking, But so I think the confidence booster there was, look at this thing that I did. When I was teaching in Korea, I would watch TEDx talks and like TEDx. I was such a fan. And so 12 years later, I'm standing there. So for me, it was like, look at what happens when you stay true to the things that you envision for yourself.
Absolutely.
And then what else did it do for me? It was also very vulnerable. It's not an easy story to share. But it was also beautiful to see the people who were in that room come out and say, thank you for sharing that, because I saw parts of myself and I saw parts of people in my life in that story as well. So, yeah.
And when you share something that vulnerable, do you do it still, first of all, now, like you've done with us? Are you still doing it? But what are you aiming for? Who are you hoping to touch when you share something that vulnerable?
I'm of the belief that there's nothing I've experienced that's peculiar. I'm not the only person whose mom died of AIDS. Like, standard.
True.
I'm South African.
Yeah.
Many, many people have experienced that. I'm not the only person that struggles with coming out and being a Christian. I'm not the only person that has struggled with being cheated on And I'm not the only one who has failed at businesses. And so the beauty of my work is that I can use those stories to connect with people. And in that connection, people go, oh, if Kanye could have gone through that and survived it and hopefully thrived through some of it, then maybe I can do too. And so, what I've had to learn was the difference between privacy and vulnerability. That I can tell you my story without bringing you into the privacy of the story. I can say my mom died of HIV and AIDS,
And you leave it there.
and I leave it there. But you'll understand what that means for someone to lose a parent at a young age. I was 17, so yeah.
What did it do for you and for your siblings as well?
It broke us. I think when my mom died, it broke me in ways that the healing still continues. My mom was married to my stepdad, who did not like me. My dad was married to my stepmom, who did not like me. And so when my mom died, I felt very alone, and I felt like I was kind of floating. And I lived my life in this deep desire to be chosen. And it manifested in everything. Friendships, let's not even go to romantic partners, because we attract people that affirm our beliefs about ourselves, the good, the bad, and the in between. So I was attracting partners who will essentially not choose me, because my I am, every I am is an affirmation. And so my I am was, I am not chosen. So because I had to have that belief affirmed, I would choose people that prove you are not chosen. And so yeah. Okay. And so the breaking really was how a 17-year-old child then gets to create a story based on the life that she's lived. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you've left me speechless. Thanks. Let's speak about
I think it's something about this room.
Let's speak about the Own Your Life seminars. I suppose it's quite similar to you being a personal development coach, right? But why did you want that you needed to have the seminars now?
The seminars are a space where, so far, it's been mostly women. So I'm going to talk about the women who've been in the room. It is important to understand that we are people that live with other people. And so the community aspect of it, one, to be in a room where you go, you know what, I'm not alone. There's someone breaking about a childhood that feels very familiar. And in the most random of things, there was a time where I had two parents who were struggling with teenagers that they had to kick out of the house. And these people are like, oh, is it just me? And the guilt that you feel. And then there's someone in the room going, no, I had to do the same thing too. And then the Own Your Life, we live in autopilot a lot. We allow life to happen to us instead of with and through us. And when you say own your life, it is take control, get out of autopilot. And taking control includes going back to your childhood. So it's important. I'm a fan of inner child work because it helps you move with compassion for yourself, to understand that, you know what, I didn't just become a people pleaser. I had to create coping mechanisms to survive the environment that I was in. And so if I were to change my life, this is not something I can do through self-loathing. This is something that I can even say, you know what, Khanyi, thank you for learning something that will help you survive an uncomfortable environment, but it no longer serves you now. So how can I let it go without being like, people pleasing sucks? It does, but there was a time where if you had not learned how to, you would not have survived. And so this is like the stuff that we go through in the seminars.
So what would be some of the key topics with your seminars that people can look forward to?
I want to say the inner child work, but people get really scared.
I don't think people necessarily want to go back to who they were as children.
Listen, I have a 65-year-old Zulu man client who is doing amazing work right now, and he comes in for sessions. And I did inner child work with him, and he was like, I needed this.
Sure.
I needed this because I have just been brushing over. The reason people don't want to go back is you think, man, Khanyi, it happened and I moved on. You did not. It happened, you survived it, but it continues to define you. And if you don't go back and look at what it is, you're going to repeat those same patterns in your life. The self-sabotaging won't stop. The people-pleasing won't stop. The way in which the anxious attachment won't stop, because all of who you are gets created in those tiny little ages. And you just find ways to move through and move past, but you get to a point in your life where you have to look at yourself. And that's the thing that we do at On Your Life. Look at yourself. And some of the topics that we touch on is identity. Who are you? When you're not sitting here interviewing Khanyisa and you go home and you shut the door and you shut your curtains and you turn the lights off and no one is watching, who's left there? And who do you want to be? Who do you pretend to be? A lot of us are walking around pretending to be, especially Black women, I'm powerful, I'm a baddie. But then inside you're so scared, right? And then you build walls, not out of self-protection, but out of fear. So we get people to look at themselves in those ways. And then, yeah.
Do you have a team that you're working with?
A team of one.
A team of one. A team of one. I want to take a step back and go back to the issue of being a TEDx speaker, right? Is it something that you would do again?
Absolutely. I would absolutely do it again. Yeah.
On a different, what kind of topic do you think you'd choose this time around?
I would choose this is such a good question. Transformative power of radical self-love.
Okay.
Yes.
What is radical
It sounds like I've been
self-love?
thinking about it, right?
Yes.
Radical self-love is when you learn to love everything, not just what feels good to love, but when you can look at yourself and go, I love this, and I love this, and I love this about me. And then you go, now what do I want to change? And you start saying things like, because I love myself, I'm going to heal. Because I love myself, I'm going to have better habits. Because I love myself, I'm going to leave this toxic relationship because I deserve better. But the radical part of it is that self-love is hard. Setting boundaries is self-love. And it's not an easy thing to do. And it kind of, when I say, oh, do you love yourself? People go, I do. And I'm like, how do you know? And they go, oh my God, can you listen? I go to the spa sometimes and I buy myself whatever I want. I'm like, that's cute and it's self-care. What do you do for self-love, right? How many boundaries do you set? How many times do you say no? When do you say yes and your yes feels good? Because if you're someone that doesn't know how to say no, then how do you know if your yes feels good? And that's self-love.
Your messages would reach a large number of people, over 300,000 people. You spoke earlier about not wanting to be so engulfed in the likes, in the comments, in who's reacting, how many people have liked whatever that you have posted. How do we get to that point? How did Khanyisa get to that point where you say, you know what, I'm leaving it there. I've put it out there, I'm leaving it there. I'm not going to go back to check who's liked it and all of that.
I still go back and check. I had a video that had 10 million likes.
Sure.
And when I reached 2 million of those likes, it was like a drug, right? And so every time I was posting, I was like, I wish I get another 10 million for this one. And then I was like, oh, this is like a drug. There's a social media documentary that they do on Netflix where they have owners of these social media platforms being like, I would never get my child a phone. We created to be a drug. We created to hit the same points in your brain where a drug would. And then I remember I was walking around New York. I was with a friend of mine that lives in New York, and we were walking around, and I could not get off my phone. And Shazra is like, what's on that phone? I'm like, I think I'm going to get another million. And then she's like, Khanyi. I was like, oh my God. And mind you, I'm like 37, 38 at this point. This is not just teenagers going through this. And so I dance a lot, and I think a lot of people do. I dance a lot with, where do I lose myself in purpose? And when things like that happen, I go, oh, there it is. I've lost myself in purpose because ndingumntu, and I fumble and I'm flawed. But the grace I give myself is knowing that ndingumntu and I fumble and I'm flawed. And so when things like that happen, I'm able to go, oh my God, it happened. Let's remember why we do the things that we do. And so now, I post and I engage because I see the people who are in my platform less of followers than people that I'm in community with. And so I engage with them and I talk to them and I message them back. I don't even like being called an influencer because I'm not an influencer. I am someone that uses these platforms to connect with people. Yeah.
You don't think you influence them?
Someone said I was a key person of influence.
That's an influence.
So I said, Khanyi, you are not an influencer. You are a key person of. I was like, I really like that.
Okay.
I think I influence, and I've gotten really beautiful messages for people. I think one that never leaves is someone who wrote to me and said, I was about to take my life. And right before then, I the algorithm showed me your videos, and I decided to stay a little bit longer. And so it was a teenage boy in university in Bloom, and we started just chatting. And I was like, please stay. Like, you're so young. I promise it gets better. I know it gets better. I have a story and a childhood that proves that it gets better. And so I'm having those conversations constantly. I don't know why I told you that story, but yes.
Appreciate it. I think it's very important because my next question is definitely, do you ever have a concern that you may post something or share something as a person of influence that may not land well with people?
I say it all the time. I said it last week. I was talking about the March and March stuff that's happening at home right now. And I spoke about the experience of being an immigrant in different countries. I was an illegal immigrant for 2 years in America. And I couldn't work, I couldn't work until I had my papers to work. And the message I was trying to relay to that was, it's not the immigrants' issue that we have a flawed government, because some countries have systems where this doesn't. In Thailand, you can't just go and put up a shop as a foreigner. You know that. There's no one you can pay off to make that happen for you. And that's the conversation I was having, and it just landed wrong with some people. Landed well with others, but I was like, okay.
The balance.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
But also within that balance, you always have to find what is true for you. Because you can disagree with me, and that's fine. And I can still hold that to be the truth for me. Yeah.
Let's speak about, you are also an author.
I am an author.
Talk to us about that.
The first book I wrote was called Traveling While Black and Lesbian. It's a very raunchy, naughty book. My aunt was like, I want to read it. I was like, there's no way you are reading that book. It was, I grew up very poor, from a town that most South Africans don't know. And because of that, and I went to JSS, JJ, dun 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 dun, Nanfundecala village. And when I speak now, people assume a life based on how they see and perceive me on social media. And in that perception, they are so wrong because their perception is Khanyi must have had a really good life growing up and a silver spoon. And I'm like, oh, what? Girl, we had a flushing toilet paper in the like a flushing toilet in the 2000s at home. I know what it feels like to run out of candles mid homework. And so the reason I wanted to write a book like that was I wanted young and old queer people who wonder if they can transcend their own stories and create something completely different from what they know. And then my second book is called You Belong Here, and it's a self-development book about belonging.
And so, I want to then find, you keep talking about home, which is beautiful.
I
the
love
Eastern
it.
Cape.
My girlfriend was like, your Itala is in your blood and bones. I was like, girl, you don't understand.
What then, for a young lady, a young woman growing up at Tala, how did you even think about psychology, studying psychology?
It was honestly life going wrong at the time, and then you realize that was life going right. I wanted to study law,
Okay.
and my mom died the year I was doing matric. Then I lived with my dad and his wife and my sisters for a year after to repeat matric. I then give him my forms to apply for law. Then he forgets to mail them.
Oh.
Yes. That sucks, right?
Completely.
Like he forgets. And I'm in Joburg and I'm doing well. I remember I passed with distinctions that year and I was so sure. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get into law when I go to UWC. UWC at the time was like one of the best law schools in the country. I was just like so ready to be a lawyer. And then I go to my dad's office, I open the drawer and my forms were in there. Go to Cape Town, I apply for law. They're like, we're full. Just study this for the year and then we'll see if we can transfer you. I ended up loving it. And then that's how I studied psychology.
So it actually found you, in other words.
It found me in a way that also hit a deep wound of abandonment because how do you forget me? How do you forget my career? How do you forget my future?
Did you ever have that hard conversation with him?
I actually sat with him and we had some hard conversations recently.
Okay. And how did that go?
It went.
We'll leave it at that. Okay.
We'll park that one.
It went.
Not ready. It went.
Because I know that you're also very big on self-abandonment, allowing people, teaching people how to stop the whole thing of abandoning themselves. So for you to then be abandoned like that by your dad, that couldn't have been easy either. And even in the journey that you're on where you're helping other people, you have these tough conversations then with your dad. How do you not dislike him?
It's such a good question. He's probably gonna watch this. He's a stalker a little bit. I was raised by my grandfather. So my grandfather is my dad. And when my grandfather died, I was 9 years old and I watched him die. And he went to vote, came home and died in his garden. And I remember being 9 years old and looking over my dead grandfather. And for me, there is no level of abandonment that can match that. Because after my grandfather died, everything changed. And so the abandonment with my dad hurts because, and I met him when I was 13, right? There's a story behind that also. But when I have, and I spoke to him about this, that it's what you do, you forget me. And it's something that I had to painfully get used to, that I have a father that forgets me. And that really puts a strain in our relationship. And I feel unparented a lot. And this is why I obsess over reparenting myself and showing up for myself. Something happened where that wound was poked at. This is why I had to have this conversation with him, where I was like, that really hurt. And I was crying at a restaurant with my partner. It's just like, this is tough. I was like, no, man, this is not 41-year-old Khanyi crying. This is the 13-year-old and the 15-year-old and the 17-year-old and the 18-year-old and the 19-year-old whose university application forms were forgotten in a drawer. That is who is in pain right now. And then the question I ask myself constantly when that happens is, how do I, the 41-year-old, show up for those teenagers and remind them that I don't forget you? I'm here. It's interesting, and it hurts that sometimes it's necessary.
Why did you come back to South Africa?
My grandmother got sick.
Okay.
I was ready to leave the States. I packed up my apartment, and I was traveling in Peru. I was in Cusco for a month, and I was going to go to Brazil. And then my grandmother got sick. She was the love of my life. And so when she got sick, I was like, I have to go home. So booked a flight, came home, and I was blessed enough to have 4 months with her before she died.
Sure.
And then I just stayed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll go back?
I don't know. I'm really loving being home. So I don't know. And I have responsibilities. She died with 4 kids under her care.
Sure.
So my family and I are kind of like taking care of the kids together.
What are some of the misconceptions that people may have about a self-development or a personal development coach?
What do I know about life that I can coach them in it? I hear that a lot. Someone made a video and everyone was tagging me. I was like, guys, the misconception is that I coach you on how to live your life.
Okay.
I can't coach you on how to live your life, but I can help you with systems and structures in becoming the person you want to be. And I approach my work from a trauma-informed place, because I refuse for you to be like, come and be like, oh, listen, Khanyi, my name is Seho. I'm struggling with a toxic relationship. And then I'm going, girl, dump him. Like, that does nothing for you.
Yeah.
I want to know how we got here so that we don't repeat it. And it's mostly about accountability. I don't give you your goals. You know, I was going through goals with one of my clients this morning, and I was like, what do you want to create? And so she tells me. So we have a routine set. We're introducing meditation. We're introducing journaling. We're introducing how to have difficult conversations. And that is the relationship of a coach and a client. I can't be like, oh, this is who you should be. How do I know that?
Absolutely. So for someone who wants to walk in your footsteps, who wants to become a personal development coach, certified, of course, who wants to be an author, who wants to be a TEDx speaker, what are some of the steps that you would advise for them to take?
The first one would be to work on the self first and to know why you want to do it. A lot of the times we lose the vision because we don't have a clearly defined why for that vision. So that would be the first one. Like, get very clear on why you want to be a coach, why you want to be an author. And then also, like, who are you talking to? I told you I'm doing a mentorship program. And part of the 8-week is, who are you talking to? I'm talking to a specific person. You can talk to men. You can talk to young boys. You can talk to young girls. You can talk to, I have a student in Cape Town who wants to talk to people who are living with HIV and just saying, hey, you don't need to be stuck here. We can actually have a life. So being clear on your who, your why, and your how. How are you going to do it? Those are the steps.
As a person who's lived overseas for so many years, you come back, you've been here for about a year and a half now. What is the one thing, 2 things, 3 things, however many, that upsets you about South Africans?
Our South Africans. Oh my God, I love us so much. We don't hold our government to, it's like we don't hold them to account in ways where, I would have joined March and March if we went to Parliament. I would have joined it if we went to in front of the Madlanga Commission and be like, what do you mean you are doing this? I would have gone to those. But we seem to not understand that our fight is not amongst the people we're trying to fight. And also, what else? I really enjoy South Africans, though. I remember when I got back last year, we went to Dunusa when Dunusa was still around, and I'm sure, and I also get very overwhelmed at markets, wherever the market is. I'm just not a market person, and we're going there. I'm with my brother and my partner, and I'm just hyperventilating. And South Africans are just walking and they're jamming. There's someone playing music at the corner, and people are just dancing. I was like, man, yeah, I don't get to experience this in the States, so I love this. I love that about us. I think we can do better with how we hold those in power to account.
What upsets you about South Africa?
The potholes. I cannot stand them. The potholes.
Okay.
Oh, what else upsets me? I might get into trouble with this. Should I say it?
Please go ahead.
I think we're a country of functioning alcoholics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What gives you hope about South Africa?
What gives me hope? When I watch creators like Amahle Jax, and I see them. It's funny. I recently said if she started a political party, I would vote for her. When I see, like, what I'm wearing is all local pants, local top, local hat. When I see the creativity of our young people, Gen Z gives me hope. Yeah.
Okay, let's get to know you a bit more. But these are like quick throw questions, okay? I'm gonna coffee or tea? Silly question.
Coffee.
Early bird or night owl?
Early.
Why?
I like to wake up. I'm a morning person.
What time typically would you get up?
6:30.
Okay. Introvert or extrovert?
Are you judging that?
No, absolutely not. Introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert.
Heels or sneakers?
Sneakers.
All the time. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Sweet or savory?
Savory. I don't have a sweet tooth.
Okay. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Book or movie?
Movie.
Phone call or text message?
Call me.
Why?
Oh my God. Because, like, I think this is also, I work with couples, ne? If you're having a difficult conversation, nomntu wakho, call them. Because if you left the house and we were arguing and then we're texting, what voice am I hearing?
Okay.
The argument. So you're like, hey, babe. I'm reading, hey, babe. Right? And you're like, have a good day. I'm like, have a good day. And I'm like, does she mean that? Or it's just like out of habit? So, but if you call me, then I can hear your tone. Yeah. I'm also old school. I like phone calls. Call me.
Okay. Doesn't give you anxiety?
A call?
Yes. Like a person that's calling you out of the blue?
No.
Okay. What's one word your friends would use to describe you?
I don't know. Maybe kind.
Okay. What's your go-to comfort food?
Okay. I want to say Mexican food, but I have not found a good Mexican food place here.
Okay.
So if you have any recommendations, please. Okay. But right now, I'm really my girlfriend is an amazing cook, so whatever she makes, I'll find comfort in that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Favorite holiday destination?
I loved Peru. I went to Machu Picchu, which is gorgeous. I love Thailand. I do want to go to Zanzibar. I haven't been.
Okay. What's one thing people would be surprised to know about you?
That I'm funny.
Yeah. If you weren't doing your current job, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't doing this, I would probably... I'll be a biker. I love motorbikes.
As a job?
As a job. Like, I would be those, like, racing, like, motorbike racing people. Yeah.
Okay. You like living on the edge?
I do. I can drive a motorbike. I lived on an island.
Okay. Your favorite music genre?
Oh, anizondi ja ja yo. I don't have one. Okay, it depends on. I don't have a favorite thing.
Okay.
It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm working, I'm listening to those like white people folk stuff. I have some random Sundays where I miss country music. I lived in Texas. Okay, so there's a Texan that lives here. They like country music, and I listen to that. I've really been getting into amapiano, giving it a shot.
Morning workout or extra sleep?
Morning workout.
One item you can't live without?
My toothbrush.
I love that. What's your guilty pleasure?
I don't have guilty pleasures. I treat myself to things that feel good for me when they feel good for me.
Okay. Because you've done both city life or countryside?
City.
Okay.
Because I'm an extrovert.
Yes,
right?
Yes, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Dress up or dress down?
Can I mix?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Cats or dogs? All the time.
I'm begging for one right now.
Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
What's one thing you're grateful for today?
Being here, having this conversation, I wasn't prepared for how personal and how deep we would have. Like, I had moments where I wanted to cry, and I think you did such an amazing job just holding space for those moments of sadness. And so I think I'm really grateful we got to sit down and have this conversation.
Thank you. I'm so grateful that you came through as well. What legacy do you hope to leave behind?
That people will always remember that the most important relationship in their lives is the one with themselves.
What keeps you grounded?
God, the universe, and my ancestors.
Finish the sentence. I am at best when.
Can I say having sex? I'm kidding. I am at best when I'm working. I love what I do. It recharges me in ways that I didn't think I could. Like, whether I'm speaking at a corporate event or at Own Your Life, or I have a client at home, or I'm doing a live on TikTok, that moment of human to human connection. Yeah.
What's one message you'd like every woman watching us today? What would you like for them to hear?
You can, and this is in not a cliche way at all, but you have everything that you are trying to outsource. You have love, you have happiness, you have joy. Start by tapping into that first before you can invite people that can magnify it instead of bring it.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
This was so lovely. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Khanyisa Mnyaka. She's a certified personal development coach, counselor, TEDx speaker, and author. And she's also the founder of Own Your Life seminars. What a pleasure to speak to. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And I hope you also got in the laughs as well. Remember to like and to subscribe to Conversations with Eminent Women. From myself and the entire team, remember, wherever you go, whoever you encounter, just be kind and protect your peace. Bye-bye.